Shalom and welcome to another in our series of podcasts from Temple Beth Am, a dynamic center for conservative Judaism in Los Angeles. This is Meditation and Mindfulness with Rabbi Adam Kligfeld.
So we are, at least as Angelinos, still in the midst of a municipal emergency that we have been mostly spared from this community, but not completely. We have members who are really suffering and have lost everything. Those of us whose consciousness is connected to the situation in Israel are toggling back and forth between a certain disbelief and elation that there may be hostages coming out of Israel, out of Gaza into Israel next week, along with the heaviness of knowing the cost. And in addition to all of those heavy things, it's just a Friday, and an opportunity to connect with our own deepest selves and try to create a little cocoon of wellness. And the piece of Torah I want to share with all of you that will be the formation of the basis of our meditation comes from the moment in Parshat Shemot where the Israelites have cried out to God to share their anguish about their enslavement. And the Torah says a line that if we weren't reading the Torah like a love letter where every phrase mattered, we just say, okay, it's emphasizing a point, but it seems redundant. The verse says, Vayar Elohim et bnei Israel, that God saw people of Israel, meaning saw their plight and understood what they were complaining about. Vayeda Elohim, and God knew. And so many commentators said, why do we need both? Obviously, if God saw them, God knew. How could an omniscient God who saw them, who heard them, not actually understand what they were going through? What's being added by the phrase Vayeda Elohim, and God knew? And the Malbim, a 19th century Ukrainian sage, says something very interesting. He says, it doesn't take much to see someone's apparent emotionality and understand what they're going through. So the first thing that God did was saw the children of Israel and said, oh my goodness, they're weeping, they're injured, they're bloodied, they're haggard. And God understood, because God finally looked in that direction, which creates its own theological question. Are there any directions that God's not looking in? But for the moment, God looked in that direction, saw them, and understood. But Vayeda Elohim, Malbim says, there are some things that people are experiencing that are not apparent. Their faces are belying what they're actually going through. They're covering or they're pretending. Second, someone's joining. They're covering or they're pretending, and a first glance at what someone looks like in that moment does not tell you the truth. But God is God, and God doesn't have the limitations that we humans have, and God even saw the anguish and the pain that was not apparent, and God knew on a deeper level the pit of their reality. And what I think the Malbim is trying to invite us to do is to look at people the way this text imagines God looks at people, which is to see not just the obvious, that's easy, but to see the less obvious. Can you see someone's pain that's not visible? Can you do the investigation into someone's reality that might allow them to share something that they are holding on to and they don't know how to express it, but in the presence of the right friend or pastor or rabbi or partner, it will come out. That's a Vayeda Elohim. That's an intimacy of knowing that is divine. And some of you may know that the root yada, to know, in biblical Hebrew means both to know something ideologically. It also means carnal knowledge. It means intimacy. And it also can mean a non-carnal intimacy, to really know what someone's going through. So that's the piece of Torah that I'm sitting with, and I'm going to use it in the meditation. And I invite everybody, if you haven't already, close your eyes. But allow yourself to descend into this moment. Claim these moments as something precious. Feel a certain wellness come over you. Become attuned to your breathing. You may want to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And hear your own mind say on the inhale and the exhale, I know that I am breathing in. I know that I am breathing out. I know that I am breathing in. I know that I am breathing out. Try to situate and breathe yourself into poised rest. Into a place where you are focused, very alert, very aware of everything going on around you, very awake, but also deeply peaceful, as if you are in a bath of serenity, a cocoon of wellness that can't be punctured, at least for these minutes. Start by taking 10 deep breaths in through the nose and 10 deep breaths out through the mouth. If you lose the count, just go back to 1. Your eventual number matters less than that you are focusing on your breathing. All glance around in our world, and we take in what we see very quickly. We make quick assessments. And so sometimes we see only what is obvious, only what is apparent. Vayar Elohim et bnei Israel. God saw the children of Israel the same way we see things. We look, we see the facts, we take it in. Vayeda Elohim. God knew. God lingered. God saw what was hidden. God understood what was obscured. God saw and knew them on the most intimate level. And in that moment, they were already rescued. Because to be seen by someone else that way is redemption. How to see someone in your mind's eye that you haven't yet seen this way, but that you should. Whose deeper pain have you blocked yourself from? Who might be pretending in your presence, but really needs to be seen? What would it take to know them the way God knows? And who knows you like that? In whose presence do you feel that even your hidden truths are visible? Your deeper reality is seen. That just by being in this person's presence, you're already redeemed, you're already rescued. We all need such in our lives. We all need to be such in our lives. Vayeda Elohim. When God really knew. up to the surface, whether or not you want to. We'll say the closing meditation prayer 3 times. I'll share it with the screen. May we and all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May we all be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May we all experience true happiness that has no taint of suffering. May we live in great equanimity, free from burdening attachments to loved ones and contempt for others, but rather with compassion for all. May we all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May we all be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May we all experience true happiness that has no taint of suffering. May we live in great equanimity, free from burdening attachments to loved ones and contempt for others, but rather with compassion for all. May we and all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May we all be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May we all experience true happiness that has no taint of suffering. May we live in great equanimity, free from burdening attachment to loved ones and contempt for others, but rather with compassion for all. And I say to all of you, Shalom and Shabbat Shalom. Namaste. May our city be well. May our people be well. Have a nice weekend, everybody.
You have been listening to another in our series of podcasts from Temple Beth Am, a dynamic center for conservative Judaism in Los Angeles. If you enjoy these podcasts, we invite you to write a review on the Apple Podcast site or wherever you get your podcasts. For more information about Temple Beth Am Los Angeles, go to tbala.org.